What's up, guys? Making another video. Haven't really been uploading very much because I haven't really been taking care of myself. I might call this video the upside down triangle. Because when you focus too much inwards within other people and not within yourself, you stagnate. And when someone stagnates, they end up waiting in line. They think that somebody is going to save them, but it's not going to be anybody but you. When I look around, it is the beauty of nature. But even at the same time, when you look around, you always start to feel different. You don't feel the same anymore. As if the program in your mind is trying to reach for the wheel. And, when you observe people who do not change, and you put too much of your time observing people who are narcissistic, and when you do not heal and recover from people who lack accountability, you end up feeding their own noise to yourself. And what that does is you're allowing these people to abide your time while you try to fit in. And when you try to fit in, you start to sound just like the people nearby. And when you think that holding on to somebody, something, a situation could help you in the future, it does not. In fact, when the universe shows you what happens to people who do not change, 20 years later, they're wearing the same face, they're wearing the same clothing, they're also wearing the same avatar, they're also wearing the same title, as if it means everything they are. And when you look at them, you're like, look who it is. But when you take a step back to really get a good look at them, you realize, oh shit, wow, they didn't change one bit. And you don't have to really talk to them. You just have to look at them, and you realize that is the cost. It's not being lazy, it's being stubborn. And when you are stubborn, you don't get anywhere. You stay the same. And I almost didn't want to go out and take a walk, but I really, reminded myself that, you see this? Look at how much belly fat I have. I used to have about maybe 4 times less in 3 months from now. If I decided to give up and I continued to stagnate and say I'll do it tomorrow, in 5 years from now I'd be about 700 pounds. I'll be eating cheeseburgers, French fries, soda, cookies, and I'd just be watching my life fall apart. It's sad, y'all, I'm telling you, and that's why you have to take action. See, when I look at my stomach, my body is trying to tell me to get rest, sleep. The reason why is because I haven't been able to sleep during the night. I've been allowing the system of bad habits take charge of my good habits again. And I pushed through making this video because it helped me, stay on track. And maybe it'll help you and whoever watches this stay on track, because it is so important that you know that your body is trying to tell you you need to get up. You don't have to get a job, but you do have to get up. You don't need money to start. All you need is support. And it's hard because you don't know who to trust. I tried to put my trust on my care manager, and this care manager, I trust her, but she works for a bureaucratic system. And if you don't know what bureaucracy means, look it up. I'll tell you anyway about how I perceive it. It's feeding a machine that is designed to keep you stuck. It's like money, but your property to its food chain. If you made more than $5 million a month, good for you. You did something right. But if you're someone like me right now, and you make nothing a month, but you make progress, trying to change your ways, trying to, eliminate food from your diet, but living with people who keep consuming the same food can make it so hard because they're trying to keep the version of you in the present where, would you like some cookies? You like cookies. You finished the whole box. And, it's not, they have no power over me, but I do have the power of saying no. I will not have any. But once the bad habits, of being tired and saying, okay, you know what, maybe one cookie. It always starts with one. It's like drinks. It always starts with one. And then when you start with one, guess what happens? You get greedy. You start to feed the parasite in your mind. And everyone has a parasite, but the reason why you have to follow your heart, it kills the parasite, and then over time the parasite is no longer there. You completely healed from turning into a abusive asshole mode to yourself and others. I did get angry in the past. I did abuse my father, but I didn't, my father abuses me a lot. Not physically, but mentally. But he taught me how to stay on guard duty. But it is very exhausting when you come home. You try to relax. You try to speak your mind. But somebody always, they always have the need for control so they can tear you apart. And my mother told me that maybe it is best that you tell your care manager to help you with finding an agency that is exactly like OPWDD in Oregon. And when that happens, maybe you should move to Oregon. And I actually agree with that. Because right now, I'm just kind of waiting. I don't want to stagnate though. If I know that there's nothing for me here, I would speak up my word and tell my care manager, look, I feel that here in New York, nothing is really working out for me. Can you do me a favor and help me find an agency or a program if you are able to help? I know that maybe it's against the rules to search for something that is outside the state of New York. But apparently I feel that my need to move somewhere else will help me grow, heal, because the only way to change is to heal. And really allow your body to change, because the only way your body changes is when you entirely change the environment you're in. And when you change the space that you're in, you actually feel the release of tension, greed, anxiety, ego. That's the thing, y'all. Sometimes we think that food and what we're eating is keeping us stuck. No, it's energy. When there's energy that's stuck in a space, your gut carries it most. I know AI and people will say, oh, that's not true. You know what? It is. We're all made out of energy. Water's made out of energy. We're all made out of energy. And you may not be completely the mind or the body, you're the soul experiencing life and death simultaneously. Every single day your body is changing. And the truth is, you just have to be ready to let go and trust the road. Because life is never gonna happen if you stay in a space and a place that you know is never gonna change. It's never gonna change because there's a person in your life that's preventing you from being who you really are. And that's my father. And that's my sister. But here's the thing. I don't want to point fingers at anybody. I just want to allow everybody to have their peace so I can have mine. But we all have to start somewhere. Too many people commit suicide because they are lost. Because they're inside a very painful paradox that does not end. And they think that the only way to stop is to shoot themselves or fall off a cliff or climb a building and fall off that, or climb a tower, fall off that, climb that and fall off that. What's the meaning of life? Build your life. Don't commit suicide. No. That's a waste of time and life. I know that, people say, oh, you only live once. That's bullshit. It's not true at all. And Maybe it is for some people. I actually truly do feel that some people that you meet are actually meant to live once. And that's it, like they're just a part of the matrix. They're not actually there. You're just witnessing a anomaly that's a part of the whole illusion itself. It's like an NPC, except it's AI on crack. Except AI is just, it thinks a lot slower, but then it's not artificial, it's organic. It's made by the very condition of the Creator, God. The very thing that shifts matter through time and space and in an eternal death and through infinity and beyond. We're all based in matter and patterns and frequencies. That's why music is so important. That's why music is so fucking powerful, because even now when I speak, you can make music, use a synthesizer, and you start to really feel the depths of things that you cannot describe in words, but what you can through frequency, through patterns, through vibration, through art. Now, words do have meaning, but what is beyond meaning is more like feeling. Pure love comes from nature, growth, and pure hatred and anger and rage and vengeance comes from the concept, which is stated as ego, but ego is the only thing that allows you to feel pain. Isn't that cool? Without ego, you wouldn't be here. Now, a lot of people call it fragile ego when they are in pain, grief, or insecure. They got that totally wrong. It's not ego at all. It's actually it's a conceptualized duality. When someone is dealing with false accusation and they are angry at themselves, so they blame the world for it. It's like, Ash and Fire, Avatar. When you blame the fire for being too hot, and you grow up to be a lunatic narcissist, and you take the blame on fire, but then you still use it to kill people, to create rage and fear and war, just to make a point. Maybe those people will see what you see, but no, they usually don't. What they see is a fucking madman who misunderstand the elements of purity. Chaos is not supposed to be your mouth. Chaos is actually supposed to be the currents of life and death remaking themselves through frequency. Chaos is actually the most calmest current when it is used the right way. And that is why the devil is often seen as a really bad sign, is because people feed their mind bullshit. And that's when they start to label the bullshit as ego. That guy has an ego. Fuck him. But look, when you take a step back and you realize what you just said, that guy has a ego. Fuck him. Look at your own ego. When you hate somebody, it might just be your fear of being manipulated and taken for granted again. But if your gut says don't invite that person and trust it, perhaps it's not you being paranoid. Perhaps the friend of your brothers or sisters or mothers or fathers or whatever, whoever, friend bubble they have, if that person is toxic, they're only toxic to you and they're not toxic to anyone else. They could be narcissistic to you and to everyone else now. Some people are actually terrible people to everybody else except for themselves. Some people are actually terrible to one person, and to everybody else they're actually charming. Some people actually use this narcissism as to, I should say most people do not take accountability, so they run up to somebody else and they screw with them, troll them, and they leave behind some validation while they take zero accountability. Some people use narcissism to lie to the very monster for their own benefit, which is exactly what I'm doing online. But even then, I know that it's beginning to affect my own life to a point where I need to back away and call it. Say no to that shit. Because the truth is, you cannot fix what is beyond your own control. So that's about it, y'all. I'm gonna end the video here. But anyway, you cannot survive fear if you allow fear to dictate your choices. And when you allow fear to take control of your choices and your actions, you're going to stagnate, you're going to become stubborn, and you're going to make the mistake of thinking that weakness is bad, and you're going to become extremely obsessed with other people who are able to show their love and dignity to other people, and over time that becomes jealousy and you envy them. You heard that? That was a raven. There he is, two of them. The ravens are telling you and me, be careful. And the raven, see, the raven is the devil. The devil is the raven. And the raven is the one who guards the dead and the living. And the raven is the one who guards the past. Protect your past, but also remember, build to break the chains of your past and future, and live now and build for your future. Build to grow, build to change your financial stability and to give back to your family. Big time. It takes time, requires patience and self-care. And that's about it, y'all. Have a good day.